The armed forces of Ukraine have entered Pokrovsk with Abrams tanks. This is the first use of these tanks on the battlefield. The corresponding video was published by the 425th Separate Assault Regiment Skala of the Ukrainian Ground Forces. It is noted that the Abrams tanks provided cover for the assault groups in Pokrovsk. As one of the unit's representatives explains,
there was recently the first combat use, namely covering and evacuating assault groups into the settlement of Pokrovsk. After waiting for suitable weather, they formed a convoy, which then moved out to the area of the mission.
The Ukrainian troops managed to land infantry and secure themselves on
the positions. The tank provided good, solid, and reliable cover for our brave infantry soldiers as they carefully carried out their mission. Our BMPs were also given support. The enemy did not expect us to drive right up to the buildings themselves, which we needed to clear and secure.
Currently, the armed forces of Ukraine continue to advance toward the city center. Defense forces state that almost 40% of Pokrovsk is under Ukrainian control. However, the situation is difficult as fighting and enemy assaults are almost non-stop. The publication Militania wrote in more detail about the combat baptism of the Abrams tanks. It is noted that the Ukrainian M1A1 Abrams tanks, which were supplied by Australia, have received additional anti-drone protection. A hood made from fishing nets was mounted on the tank to protect it from FPV drones. Inside the vehicle, there is a Ukrainian adapted control panel. This will help reduce the training time for Ukrainian tank crews who do not speak English. As is known, Australia has supplied Ukraine with 49 M1A1 Abrams tanks. The transfer of the last 12 tanks took place over the past 2 weeks, while the first 37 arrived in Ukraine in July of this year. In addition, Australia is preparing to deliver more tanks to Ukraine as part of a new military aid package worth $245 million. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has exposed yet another lie from the Russian Ministry of Defense. According to the agency, the highest political leadership of the aggressor country is once again spreading fake statements about their successes on the battlefield. But in reality, the Kremlin's reports about the capture of Huliaipol and Mirnohrad are not confirmed by facts. It is noted that both Huliaipol and Mirnohrad, despite the difficult situation, continue to be held by the defense forces. The General Staff notes that the Russians are also lying about controlling half of the city of Kostiantynivka. The armed forces are holding defensive lines and destroying the enemy.
On December 26th, the occupiers attempted an assault and advanced in a column toward Kostiantynivka. As a result of the successful actions of brave Ukrainian defenders, 2 enemy tanks equipped for demining were destroyed, and our unmanned aerial vehicles eliminated the enemy infantry.
The same situation applies to Pokrovsk and Kupiansk, and the Russians have already claimed to have captured Kupiansk several times.
I am in the city of Kupiansk in the center. My guys are successfully carrying out their tasks.
The General Staff reports that in reality, Ukraine's defense forces have liberated a number of settlements north of Kupiansk. They have cleared most of the city itself and have blocked the remaining Russian group. The agencies note that the Kremlin is inventing successes on the front line in order to influence the negotiation process.
It's obvious that the Russians are lying. First and foremost, this is aimed at foreign partners and has become significantly more active precisely during the peace negotiations. However, Russian disinformation will not affect Ukraine's position or its further diplomatic efforts.
The Institute for the Study of War reports that the Russian army is currently unable to create or establish strategic reserves. For this reason, in the year 2026, the enemy will be forced to advance slowly, maintaining the current scale and scope of their offensives.